All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Office Hours with Michael Kitces. So for today's session, as many of you know, I'm an owner and a partner in both an advisory firm that serves individual clients and a number of other businesses that mostly serve you as financial advisors. And so I want to talk today about something that I learned that was ingrained in me now as a business owner that really hit me early in my career when I was still an employee. So early in my career, I worked as a planning associate in an advisory firm that had a very structured, systematic process of evaluating its client base every year. So every year we would score clients in order to segment them. So factors would be one-time revenue, ongoing revenue for the firm, because we were a blended fee and commission firm, additional potential to do business, whether they referred us and how often they referred us. And so we would use basically the scoring of client business potential, referral potential, and ongoing revenue to separate clients into A tiers and B tiers and C tier clients. And so similar to a lot of firms, we would bundle extra services in for our A clients. So we would do full financial plan updates for them and not charge them separately and invite them to special annual events for just our A clients. But the most unique part of the process, and the thing that I still remember so clearly now, 15 years later from when I moved on for the firm, is the fact that in this basically spreadsheet that we built to score our clients, there was a column called Pita, P-I-T-A. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the Pita Factor is short for pain in the ass. Right? You know what I'm talking about. The clients who are a real pain to work with. Rude, unpleasant, overly demanding in not very constructive ways. And so what was special to me about this firm as an employee that worked for it is that the PITA score was not set by the advisor. It was set by us, the employees, the staff. We scored clients on how difficult they were to work with. And it mattered. We could swing whether or not someone ended up being an A client or a B client. So clients who paid us a lot of money but were that painful to work with did not get scored as A clients because the Pita Factor actually got a very significant weighting in how we ranked and evaluated clients. Now, on top of that, not only did employees get a chance to score clients on the Pita Factor to determine whether they were going to be A, B, or C clients, the firm actually went further, and every year we would collectively vote as the employees on up to 3 clients that would get fired, that would get released from the firm. As the employees, we got to choose 3 clients that we couldn't stand working with because they had a very high PITA score and release them from the firm. And it didn't matter whether they were A clients or B clients or C clients. If they were at the top of the PITA chart, top 3 were out. We would all get together. We would have a meeting every December, and we'd all get together for an hour and decide which 3 clients we were going to fire from the firm. And then whichever advisor's book of business they were on would get to go and deliver the news to the client that they were being let go. Now, it's worth noting, the firm had already at that time been around for about 15 years. We did have hundreds of clients, so we weren't blowing up the business by with a hit of losing 3 clients, even if some of them were A clients. But from the staff perspective, I can tell you that the value to the firm in terms of our productivity as satisfied employees so outweighed the revenue of any clients that we were going to lose. Because the truth is, with those really demanding, unpleasant clients, it's often the frontline staff, it's operations team, it's admin team, it's planning associates. It's often not the advisor themselves who bears the brunt of these unpleasant requests and unpleasant interactions. And the implicit, essentially the explicit message to the firm was, at the end of the day, we care about your happiness as employees more than a handful of clients that are making you miserable just because they happen to pay us. And this idea of letting your staff have input about which clients you take on or you keep fits within, I think, just a broader theme worth giving some time to. What's more valuable to your business at the end of the day, your best employee or your best client? So Mark Tvershian, formerly Moss Adams Consulting, now CEO of Pershing Advisor Solutions, gives this fantastic thought leadership experiment on this. So he says, imagine that you're sitting in a meeting with your best employee talking about some difficult issue that's come up for the employee that they brought to you, and your phone buzzes and you see, or maybe your admin staff tells you, it's your best client calling and she wants to talk to you right now. So the question is, what do you do as the advisor, the owner, the manager? Do you take the call from your best client and tell your employee we'll wrap up later? Or do you let that client go to voicemail and call her back after the meeting with the employee? Now, as financial advisors, we're in a client-centric business. So my gut is that most advisors, most of you are probably thinking we're a client-centric firm. Of course, I take the client's call immediately, particularly if it's a top client and she says it's urgent. But for all of you who are firm owners, I want you to think for a moment about how that feels to your staff member, to your key employee. When you implicitly communicate to them with your actions that their serious issue as a long-term employee still is not as important as one client to the firm. Even though your firm probably has dozens, maybe hundreds of clients by the time you've got a lot of employees, one client out of hundreds is still important, more important than one key employee. That's what you communicate to your team when you say, sorry, we got to pause this important employee conversation because I got to take a phone call from a client. Now, let's do the math on this. As many of you know, I'm the nerd. I like to do the math on these things. So one top client probably pays you thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars for some of you. What is your key employee cost? Is that $75,000? Is that $100,000? Is that $150,000? Is that a senior advisor and they're getting paid even more? What's the cost to the business of losing a key employee that doesn't feel supported? Between the lost productivity, impact to clients when the key employee leaves, cost to replace the employee, training a new employee, getting them back up to speed, lost capacity and growth momentum. The management rule of thumb is that turnover can cost you 100 to 150% of the staff member's compensation in direct and indirect costs. So the truth is that you may have cost the business a few $100,000 spurting an employee to take a call from an admittedly valuable client, but one who probably generates a tenth or less of the value of that employee. And of course, that the reality is that the client who's calling doesn't even really know if you're available or not. I mean, for all they know, you're in a meeting and you just aren't available. In fact, you are in a meeting and you're not available because you're meeting with your key employee. And if you have a client who literally thinks they trump every other possible client and staff member you have, then I'm sorry, that's a problem client with a very high Pita score who needs to go. That's a client who needs to be eliminated from your business because their toxic attitude is going to impair your business, your team, their motivation, and frankly is putting you in lose-lose dilemmas like this to make that kind of choice. But the fundamental point is just to recognize that if you're in a business, a real business where you want one that has staying power and economic value and goes beyond just you and the work you do with your clients, so you really want to build a business and not just a practice, the most valuable asset in your business is your people. And that showing your employees that they're actually the most valuable thing to the business is crucial. Yes, even more than the clients. I get it. The clients pay the bills, but you can't serve the clients without your people. You won't have a business without your people, and your clients will leave anyways. So showing your employees that they're the most valuable to the business is incredibly powerful. So I want you to think about that next time you're in one of these situations as an advisory firm owner. Think about where you're placing priorities. Do you empower your employees to fire the clients that have the highest Pita score that impact the business, recognizing that the loss in revenue from those clients is more than recovered by the improvement in morale and efficiency and staff retention? And if your best client calls while you're talking to your best employee, do you let the call go to voicemail so you can finish with your employee? What message are you sending when you take that call? Now, I suppose, frankly, the ideal is that you let the employee decide because it's actually the employee's client because they're the senior advisor and you shifted all the clients to them. But until you reach that point where this is your client, but you got to make a decision between your client and your employee, be cognizant of the message that you're sending when you tell them that one client's happiness is worth more than a key employee's, because that's how you drive turnover in your business and that's how you lose good employees. So I hope that's helpful. It's just some food for thought. This is Office Hours with Michael Kitces, 1 p.m. East Coast times on Tuesdays. Thanks for hanging out with us today and have a great day.